And right now we have Stuart Varney for our weekly visit. Of course, Stuart Varney is on the Fox Business Channel, host of Varney and Company. You can catch that every weekday at 9:20 in the morning. Good morning, Stuart.
Good morning, Larry.
So last night, we've been talking about the sequester all week, of course, and I believe, in many respects, because of the good work that's being done on your network, here on WMAL and other talk radio stations and in the new media, that the narrative has shifted a little bit on the sequestration. And people are really looking at the numbers and seeing, wait a minute, this really isn't that big of a hit that people are going to take. And for those people who are getting furloughed, that seems to be something that the president is doing just to make people feel pain. He doesn't actually have to do those things. And last night, the president sort of started to change his narrative. What did you notice there?
Larry, you're quite right. I think the president began the doomsday walk back yesterday, last night to be specific. Let me quote exactly what the president said. He said, a lot of people may not notice the effects of the sequester. Now, that's a very different tone and content from what we've been hearing all week.
Yeah, how do you not notice when the sky is falling, Stuart?
Because the sky is not going to fall. That's the obvious answer. All week we've had Armageddon. Here it comes. Tens of thousands of people thrown out of work. Vaccinations not done in the state of... it's endless. But now, a walk back. I think the president's bluff has been called because he's predicted these dire effects, and now it's obvious it's not going to work like that. The walk back has begun.
I think you're right. I think it's a couple of things. I think, number one, that they've realized that the narrative has changed in that now many people are buying into the idea that sequestration was initially the Obama administration's idea. And secondly, reporters are actually calling out this White House. I mean, one of the most notable things was this thing that Arne Duncan, the Secretary of Education, said 30,000 teachers will get pink slips. Turns out it's just a bold-faced BS lie.
Yes, precisely right. And let me go further on. The guy who called out the president and said, this is your idea, that is Bob Woodward. He documented that it is the president who came up with the idea of sequester and put his guy, Jack Lew, who's just been confirmed as Treasury Secretary, sent him over to Congress to say, this is what the president wants, sequester. And now, Bob Woodward says, he got an email from the White House or a White House official, and it said as follows, you will regret staking out that claim. That is a threat. I think the White House has really gone overboard now. They perceive a threat to their credibility, so they're threatening the guy who questioned that credibility.
Yeah, and Stuart, trust me, we have been all over that story this morning, and we're going to continue to talk about it coming into the next hour. I'm wondering, though, there in the hallowed halls of the Fox Broadcast Center, what's the buzz there when you guys are off the air and reporters and journalists start talking about it? What's the buzz on this Woodward thing?
I think that it may be the first crack in the dam's wall that the establishment media will no longer be the automatic cheerleading section for the president and his policies. If the White House does this to one of its own guys in the media, maybe it's time to start asking some serious questions and hold the president accountable for his policies. The media has not done that so far. Maybe the tide is about to turn. I really hope it does.
Yeah, let me bring to your attention on that narrative, if I could, Stuart, that just a few moments ago we talked to Lanny Davis, who served in the Clinton administration. He writes columns now. He recounted for us just a few minutes ago here on the air an incident where the White House and the Obama administration didn't like some columns that he had written, and they threatened editors at the Washington Times and said, we're going to take away your press passes.
That is unbelievable.
It is unbelievable.
I wish I'd have caught that.
Well, we're going to run a little bit of it again at 8:15, so you'll get a chance.
We'll send you the audio. You can feature it today on Varney and Company.
Hey, if you're not careful, I will.
All right, Stuart. Listen, let's talk about some of the... we agree that the sequestration is really just a bunch of hype and it's meant to scare people. Let's talk about something very real, and that's the Keystone Pipeline. It suffered a defeat in the Senate this week. What happened there?
You got me.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
You got me.
No, because I know you're so good on it. Let me just tell you, the Keystone Pipeline, the Senate rejected an amendment that would have okayed construction of the pipeline from Canada all the way down to the Gulf Coast. The amendment was put forth by North Dakota Republican Senator John Haven as part of a transportation spending bill. The Senate keeps trying to put it in there, and even though there are plenty of Democrats who are on board with this, they are stepping back and not trying to take the initiative, and they're waiting for John Kerry to make the decision that we all know. We all know where he's going to come.
We know where he's going to be.
Now, wait a second. I don't know exactly where he's going to be. I would think that the administration might bend on this one. For the first time, a bend in a significant policy. They're under all kinds of pressure here. Everybody, look, that's not true. A lot of people want that pipeline built, and I thought that the president might bend on this one. You're telling me not.
Well, right now the Democrats are toeing the line, and they are not. They defeated this amendment to the transportation bill. So, and it's one of those things. You know how they always throw in these crazy amendments to bills that have nothing to do. Like they'll put something in an education bill that has to do with gays in the military or something. This actually has something to do with transportation, and it got defeated.
I can't believe it. If you want to create 20,000 jobs with zero taxpayer expense, high-paid jobs, do it now. Encourage energy independence. You build the damn pipeline, please.
Don't pull your punches.
Yeah, he's always so subtle.
Tell us exactly what you think.
Brian, you can say anything with a British accent.
You can. I wish I had one. The Texas accent, not so much.
Hey, Stuart, Jack Lew is now officially our Secretary of the Treasury. The Wall Street Journal called him the Forrest Gump of the Treasury. What's the reaction on Wall Street, or is there one? Is it a big yawn?
It's a big yawn because it makes no difference who is Treasury Secretary. The Obama cabinet is essentially his staff. It's in lockstep with his basic policy. And that basic policy is tax more, spend more, ignore the debt. Whether it's Jack Lew or anybody else at Treasury makes not a blind bit of difference.
All right, Lanny Davis. Lanny Davis
right.
on my mind. Because, listen, we're going to run that at 8:15, and we'll send you the link.
Yeah, and Stuart, before we let you go really quickly, I know that you're a big observer of pop culture, too. What was your reaction quickly to the Oscars, and do you think that there's any economic benefit from Argo winning?
Economic benefit from Argo winning. Is this show called Ambush?
Yeah, that's a trick question. You did watch the Oscars, didn't you?
Are you kidding? I get up at 3:30 in the morning. Yep. You think I'm going to stay awake till midnight the night before to watch the Oscars?
Yeah, sadly, I did.
Oh, like we're going to hear whining about waking up too early in the morning.
Yeah.
Poor Stuart Varney.
Stuart Varney, always a pleasure to have you on, my friend.
It was just great, wasn't it?
Thanks, Stuart. You are great. I appreciate